She makes like video content of old games, like
I'm sorry,
Juggernaut.
baby.
If you're gonna have these conversations, can you please let me know?
I'm sorry.
They're being insanely loud.
I am. I'm sorry. I was too loud, guys.
I gotta feel in trouble.
I'm sorry. My wife wants to go to sleep. I'm sorry, guys.
All right, folks. So, we got all that out of the way. Thank you for the early support. I appreciate that. Please support the stream today. Let's get support for not only this stacked podcast, but also for 7th Guest Remake. Please, let's make this a good stream to end the week, okay? All right. First topic that I want to get out of the way, I want to take a look at what happened last night with Wings, all right? So, for those who don't know, Wings of Redemption has had a rough couple of months. First, he was saying publicly that a lot of his supporters were getting doxxed and or harassed by his trolls, meaning people who were his regular contributors coming to his streams and dropping a lot of contributions were getting all their information posted up on Kiwi Farms and or other websites and being doxxed in Discord servers and then getting harassed in real life as a result. People coming to their homes and messing with them, calling them and stuff like that. This prompted the people to basically disappear from the internet and stop supporting his content. So he joined Lolcow Live again. For those who aren't aware, he had not been on Lolcow Live for over a year because he wanted to stay, out of the toxicity of the show. He wanted to just do his own content, okay? But because now he felt he was going to have a big decrease in the income on his streams because of this happening to his big supporters, he went back to a show called Lolcow Crypt. So this is not the main show. This is a show that's like a morning show. And it had David Jaffe as part of the cast. David Jaffe is the game developer who made games like Twisted Metal and the original God of Wars back in the day. Okay? So basically, he's doing a show with a game developer who probably made games that he grew up playing, and he liked the experience. He did it for a few weeks. I think it was like 3 weeks to a month. Well, all of a sudden, a little over a week ago, out of nowhere, he announced he's off the show. And they did an announcement basically saying, well, the reason he's off the show is because he just wants to avoid internet harassment with his trolls. Well, when they announced he was off the show, he also stopped streaming entirely on his own channel. So basically, he disappeared from the internet. And then apparently he deleted his entire public Discord server where he had all his fans and viewers and mods and friends. Everyone was on there. He deleted the whole thing and basically had no contact with anyone for over a week. So people didn't know if the guy was all right. Like, no one knew what the hell was going on with him. And then last night, out of nowhere, Jordy posted up the following on X. Ready? Here's the post. I guess I should say something before I disappear. I want to clear the air that I didn't quit Lolcow Crypt. I was put into a position that me walking away was the best outcome. I hate seeing friends hurt, and people were attacking Jaffe and Tech in real life. Tech was the other co-host of the show. They had people show up and want to fight family members. They had people threatening to attack siblings and family members, and they had police called to their property. I've been a victim of a I botched that one. Let's try that again. I've been a victim of a nearly year-long campaign of hatred and a doxing campaign. They targeted my income, my personal relationships, and my property. They would find someone who would donate to me and then send them thousands of dollars worth of cash on delivery services. I'm very emotional, and I hate to see people who have supported me and been friendly with me for years get abused, and it took a toll on my mental health. I've had people attempt to tow my property off my yard, and I had people come steal things from my property. They would offer grills, ice chests, statues, and things like that for free on Facebook, and then people would come and take them while I was away. I would have hookers show up at my house at 3 a.m., and threats of gun violence against me on the daily. They'll sit around and pretend it's the videos that they made that pushed me to leave the internet, but it was illegal activity that they do in chat rooms that Discord and Discord support would never help me do anything about. They would use these same tactics against people around me to get them to share phone numbers and DMs and personal effects. This problem is much larger than me, since I noticed more content creators are suffering with similar groups. This is a new problem that policing hasn't caught up to yet. I'm fully aware that I'm on the back end of my career as a YouTube content creator. I probably held on longer than I should have because of my weight issues. I'm only guilty of saying edgy things for the sake of getting views, and I've never actively harmed or hurt anyone my 18 and a half years online. I'm going away now, and I hope this isn't goodbye, but if it is, thank you for allowing me to entertain you. So, it's pretty heavy stuff, okay? If you believe everything that Jordy is saying in this post, which he pinned, by the way, making it the last post that he has on his page, and likely, I think he's making that on purpose, okay? That's pretty messed up stuff. Now, for the record, David Jaffe and Tech did not say this on Lolcow Crypt, that they were getting harassed, their family members were getting harassed in real life. They'd never talked about that publicly at all, so no one really knows about that until now that Jordy has posted this up, okay? The truth is that internet bullying is a problem. It is getting worse, and the police are not equipped to handle it, okay? Some of these things are outright crimes, okay? Some of them is just, stupid nonsense. Other stuff, organized harassment, is a crime. I don't know if people are aware of this, but it is. You cannot organize harassment against someone. It's not allowed. It's against the law. You can get restraining orders put up because of it. You can actually go after someone, both criminally and civilly. You could sue them after the fact. It is not allowed, okay? But because it's on the internet and because these people are not doing things physically to people, they're getting away with it. So, for example, if someone actually came to Wings of Redemption's house and physically threatened him, he could call the police and have them arrested. But since these people are doing things online, they are finding information and having people do mass prank phone calls, sending food to his house, having people come and try to take stuff from him and stuff like that. They're getting away with it. They're anonymous on the internet and protecting themselves from any kind of repercussions because they're not publicly doing stuff to his face. They're essentially employing means on the internet to do it, if that makes sense. Now, there's tons of people who this happens to, but the reason that you don't really hear about it is pretty simple, because the more you talk about it, the more attention it gets. And the people who act like that do it to get attention. It's actually the only reason they're doing it. Okay? They want attention for themselves. Maybe they just don't have enough attention in real life. Maybe they don't have meaningful family and friends and people who they spend time with. So the only kind of feeling of meaningfulness in their life that they get is when they know that they've done something to harass or mess with someone else and there's a reaction. Because if they're doing all this stuff and there's no reaction, then there's no point to doing it. But the fact that there's a reaction, and now you found out what you've been doing has been hurting Wings of Redemption, ooh, so it was all worth it, right? Because it actually did something. It had an impact, right? There's people who get this feeling of like there's some kind of warriors for justice because they're doing something mean to someone who maybe they don't particularly like. Particularly with Wings of Redemption, there's things he said and done over the years. There's behaviors that he's had on stream, and people just don't like him for various reasons, okay? In my opinion, I think that he's a flawed individual like we all are. I do think that there's things that he's said and done that were wrong, but I don't think that he deserves to be systematically harassed to the point where his life is miserable and now he's forced off the internet, okay? That's my take. You can completely disagree, and that's your prerogative to judge for yourself. That's life. We all agree to disagree, and we have our own takes on stuff. But I've had some interactions with the guy, all right? I don't think that he's Satan. I don't think that he's a horrendous person. I do think that a lot of his suffering is his own doing, meaning he puts himself in a vicious cycle with his actions, and he gets stuck in this cycle forever. And despite the fact that he's had many chances to get out of his cycle, he's the reason he's still there, okay? He tends to always blame others rather than himself, but I do think he has to learn to take responsibility for himself for a lot of the mistakes that he keeps making over and over and over and over and over and over. All right? But, yes, there are some people who have been basically A-logging him like crazy and have had a distinct focus on getting him off the internet, and now it looks like it may have actually happened. Okay? So, I feel bad that this guy can't make a living on the internet because people are essentially doing things that are messed up and likely illegal. Okay? It just sucks that it's come to this. And he's right when he says something down here. He says, this is a new problem that policing hasn't caught up to yet. I guess I clicked on it and opened it again. It opened it twice. Here you go. I think policing eventually will. I just don't think it's going to happen in our lifetimes. You know what I'm saying? I don't think so. I think that we're at a point where now a lot more people are eternally online, meaning their entire meaningful livelihoods and or lives are spent online. That to some people, this digital space is more real than the real life that's right outside their window. That's kind of a scary thought to really think about that. That virtual space for a lot of people is existence, while the real life around them isn't. They wish they could just be in the virtual space all day. And that's really what's led to people who systematically harass and bully people online, eternally online, you know? I just don't think that modern law enforcement has any capacity to handle this because they're not seeing it as a big issue, when in reality, I actually believe we have communities of tens of thousands of people online that are thinking that actual organized harassment is fine, when it's not. Organized harassment is illegal. I don't know if you're aware of this. It is 100% illegal. You can't do it. Not allowed. But no law enforcement is really going after it. The only times really that law enforcement has gone after it is if it resulted in a physical altercation in real life or swatting. Because a lot of people have been swatted and some people have gotten seriously injured as a result. Therefore, the swatting stuff is getting taken seriously. But outside of that, all the other kind of things that he's bringing up here, again, systematically doxing and harassing his contributors, going to their homes, sending them things they didn't order, stealing stuff off of his property, stuff like that. The police just can't handle it. Okay? They're not equipped to. They've outright said, we don't have the capacity to do this, you know? Years ago, now this was a long time ago, so who knows if this applies today, but years ago, I spoke with my local law enforcement about online bullying and harassment. And I said, is there anything that could ever be done about this stuff? And they said, basically, no. We're already stretched to the limit with what we're allowed to do. You know, we don't have time to go after online bullies. There's nothing we can really do about it, even if they're breaking the law, you know. And then they referred me to the FBI, who I did try to contact, and they never responded. So they don't really care about this stuff, you know. So it really sucks because here's my take, all right? It gets to the point where you have to find a way to deal with it. And for me, it has never ended. I want to make this abundantly clear to all of you, okay? You may notice I don't really talk about this kind of stuff anymore. I don't. Unless I absolutely have to, I don't bring it up. But it never ended. It does continue. There's still harassment that happens and there's all this nonsense. I just don't talk about it anymore. Why? I'll tell you why. Because when you do, you're giving attention to these people. And that's what they're doing it for. They want this attention. So the more you bring it up, the more that you promote it, the more that you talk about it, even if you're bringing it up in a way to say, oh, woe is me, it sucks, it's happening to me, feel bad for me, and that may temporarily benefit you, it doesn't benefit you in the long run, because then those people feel like, oh, I actually did have a negative impact on this person. I'll keep going. I'll redouble my efforts. I'll go even further. I'll push it just a little further to mess with this guy just a little more. And that's the problem. Okay? So I've essentially stopped really talking about any of it. You guys have absolutely no idea when these people are messing with me, and you don't need to. All right? As long as it's not directly affecting a stream, we're good. Thankfully, the things that used to directly affect my streams don't affect them anymore. So we're good. I'm able to stream and have a good time with you and put out the content. So that's why you're not going to hear about any of this crap, whether it happens or not. It's not worth bringing up. Okay? But in the case of Wings of Redemption, it sounds like they got so bad that he just couldn't avoid it. So I've already said this before, and I'm going to say it again. What in the holy hell are we listening to right now? Hold on one second. That sounds atrocious. I'm definitely muting that song. I don't want to hear that one again. What was that supposed to be? It actually distracted me. Okay? That was so bad, I had to thumb it down. And give me 1 second, because if you haven't noticed, with my new camera angle, my lighting is now it's actually in the frame, which I don't want it to be. I'm going to move that slightly too. Yeah. Better. Not in the frame anymore. Cool. Okay. So let's get back to what I was saying. I said this before, and I'll say it again. Oh, let me actually go to the next song. Okay. I said this before. I'll say it again. If you're on the internet and you watch a streamer or you follow a YouTuber or whatever it may be, do a very, very strong effort as much as you can, because I know nothing's foolproof in this day and age. You must make a concerted effort to hide your real life identity, okay? Right now, if you're sitting in either of my chat rooms, or if you're watching this on demand and you're leaving a comment, make sure the name in that chat is not your real life name. Make sure that that real life name is not linked to your social media. Don't have it be the same name as your TikTok account, or your Instagram, or your Facebook account, or your Discord account, or an X account. Differentiate your identity online. Make it so that just because you're in a chat, no one can now find out who you are in real life. The reason is, even though you may think, oh, I'm a nobody, I'm no big deal, no one's ever going to do anything, you have absolutely no concept of what it's like for someone who lives eternally online. To them, that chat that you are in right now and are typing and watching, or that comment section that you're in, that's their life. That's literally all they care about is online recognition. So even though for you, you might be chatting and having a good time and joking, to them, that's serious fucking business. And if you rub them the wrong way, if you spell a word wrong, or you dot the I in a way that they don't like, they may actually not like you and actually try to harass you for no good reason, because these people don't have reason. These are not normal people who have lives, friends, relationships, jobs, and things that are positive that they care about. These people literally live online. So to them, anything that happens there is the focus of everything. So if you piss them off for some reason, whether you intend to or not, they may actually try to hurt you. And then you've got to deal with endless amounts of nonsense. DMs, messages, posts, thumbs down, phone calls, emails, all kinds of bullshit that you don't need. And all the time, people ask me, hey, Phil, do you have a Discord? Will you ever make a fan Discord? Will you ever get... No, never. I will never have a public Discord. I will never have a place where I would put my viewership and my fans at risk for these A-logging, no-life idiots to come after them. I would never want someone who's a supporter of mine to go to a Discord, and now because they're there, all the trolls get their information and start harassing them in real life. Now, I'm not saying that that doesn't happen, that people don't get harassed. They do. But I make it abundantly clear, I'm not providing the means for that to happen. All right? If you go out of your way to go do online community stuff, that's up to you, but I'm not involved in it. My content is literally right here. It's my stream, it's the chat, and that's all I care about. I'm not caring about anything outside of here. I'm not making any opportunities for risk or any kinds of problems for anyone. Okay? So you've got to be incredibly careful with what you do online. This is something that increasingly has become more and more serious over and over the last 10 to 15 years. It's just getting worse and worse. It is. And you have to understand that, that you're in a situation where, yeah, you may think it's no big deal, but you have no idea. If you haven't been in that situation where you've got people stalking you, quoting your every word, A-logging every possible thing that you do, you have no idea to what extent these people will go just to try to get a reaction out of you. So trust me, it's better to err on the side of caution and not mess with these people than to be sorry after the fact. Okay? So be careful what you're doing right now. Again, if you're a part of my content and you support my content, I really appreciate you. You guys are the reason why everything has been so awesome in the last couple of years, how things have improved so much, how we're trying new kinds of games, how we're trying new kinds of things like Pokemon content and stuff like that. That's because of you. But you got to be careful. You got to be safe. You got to understand that for all of us who are happy and having fun, there's a lot of people out there that are miserable, no-life losers who sit on the internet and just try to hurt others because they don't have anything good going for them. They get their pleasure in others' pain. And so you got to make sure that you have all your doors locked, if you know what I'm saying. I don't mean in real life. I mean basically online. Everything should be secured. Be sure that nothing is, unsafe. Two-factor authorization. Differentiate your logins. Differentiate the names you use to log in. Don't have everything linked together. Be careful. All right? In regards to Wings, this is incredibly sad. Really, it is. Listen, again, I know the guy's not above reproach. He's done some stuff that people have rightly criticized him for. And like I said, I do feel like his cycle of problems and failures in a lot of ways are his own doing. He's had ample opportunities to get out of the situations that he seems to be stuck in. He wants to be stuck in it because if he didn't want to, he would have gotten out of it by now. Okay? But is that an excuse for people to try to ruin his life, to try to take away his livelihood, to mess with him in real life, to mess with his supporters in real life? Absolutely, positively, no. There's no excuse for this level of behavior. Besides, the people who are doing it are broken humans. So, I'm sorry to hear this. I do hope that this guy gets his stuff in order and sorted and that he's not, bad off as a result. But, it is what it is. And, sad. Hopefully, it'll, get sorted and he'll be able to come back and have fun on the internet again. But at this point, it's not sounding too good. Okay. I just got a tip from someone claiming that they can't talk in chat, so I'm going to try to find their YouTube account. Yes, to the person who tipped me $2, you were somehow blocked or banned or whatever. I don't know why, because I don't recognize your name. But I just took care of that, so now you should be able to talk in chat as of right now. Thank you for $2. Yeah. So try to chalk and see if you can. You should be able to. You have been unblocked. Okay. All right. So one topic out of the way. Now on to my other big